Hi, babies. I think one of the craziest things that I learned as I got older is that forgiveness looks different to everyone. Forgiveness is not something that we all are compelled to do, and it's not something that comes naturally to most. One thing that I also realized as I got older was that forgiveness sometimes is not something that we can obtain by words or closure. Sometimes we have to have the ability to forgive without that ending conversation or without closing that chapter and vocalizing our emotions, which is easier said than done. Growing into learning about forgiveness and what that journey might look like for me to embody has been something that was eye opening for sure. And I also learned that apologies or someone wanting to soothe and be apologetic about whatever the situation is does not always mean that it is something that you might not need, but it is something that they might need for themselves. And being able to empathize in the fact that they're coming to vocalize to you an apology or to extend a hand, because that might be something that they need to soothe themselves, and having that grace to be able to have that open space and vocalize how you felt without harming their process of healing is very eye opening, and it's like a very gracious experience. As you get older, you just learn that not every situation is going to have a closing or ending chapter when you need it. It might come in a season or in a very abrupt way where you're like, I don't need this closure anymore. I don't need it. If you would have asked me a few months ago, maybe it would have been a subject of conversation that I needed and wanted to drag out and openly have. But sometimes people come into your life when you're not needing it because it might be a test from the Lord to see if you've overcame it. If you actually genuinely let go of the hurt and the pain that someone might have caused you. I feel like sometimes we also have to be very cautious of the word choices that we use when we're closing chapters with people, because those word plays and the vocalization of how we abruptly decide to leave someone live might be something that is like a scar and stays as a scab for the rest of their life as they're walking in their bodily form. But it was just something that I was just like very invoked to speak about. I don't know why. I was just like, man, isn't it so crazy? Isn't it so funny how forgiveness just looks different in so many aspects? Like, I know some people can forgive without the closure, and some people can just write it off like a note and a letter and let it go and be able to adapt quickly and forgive. But there are others that take time, and they might need a vocal conversation or some type of explanation because they're overthinkers as to why this had to end the way it did. And for me, I just happen to be the type that as long as I can move past it in my own way, it will work out. I might not be able to have the conversation to close that chapter because emotionally I'm enraged, and it would not be a very productive conversation because I'm an emotional person. I know it. So I might not be the best communicator when I'm in that state, but being able to understand that hopefully they can come to me at a time in their life and just be apologetic about how situations end. Maybe I can forgive them a little bit sooner, but for me it's more of like being empathetic and being like, I know this hurt me, maybe that wasn't their intent, and trying to figure out how to soothe myself from either if it was heartbreak or betrayal or just hurt in general. Whatever the situation was, just understanding the emotions that are evoked in me and how to soothe myself is what really helps me regulate and understand more about the route that I might take to forgive a person. But yeah, I'm just here chilling, vibing, big boss. But thank you, babies, for coming by and stopping by and talking to me and just being like, here. I don't know how you guys decide to forgive someone, so put it in the chat how forgiveness looks for you, or in the comments. Put it in the comments. What does forgiveness look like to you, and how or what does it take for you to become a forgiving being? And does it take you closure, or are you more of the type of person that you can soothe yourself and learn how to forgive but never forget the situation? And when that time comes that the person becomes apologetic and approaches you with a genuine apology, does that mean that that chapter has closed already for you in your mind, or is that what you needed to actually officially close that chapter? Well, I hope this invoked some thoughts into you and what the process will look like for you moving forward. Besitos.